The Girl Who Counted Stars. Sohee was a child who loved to gaze out the window, holding an old book of poems. The book belonged to a poet named Yoon Dong-ju. As Sohee pondered the poet's sad yet beautiful words, she thought the stars in the night sky looked just like his teardrops. One night, Sohee drifted off to sleep, with the poetry book resting on her chest. When she opened her eyes, she was standing on an unfamiliar street. It was a narrow, stone-paved road lined with old wooden buildings. The dreamscape was entirely in black and white, except for the stars in the sky, which shone with an extraordinary brilliance. Just then, someone approached Sohee. It was a young man dressed in an old-fashioned school uniform. He asked in a gentle voice, "What are you looking at so intently?" For some reason, he didn't feel like a stranger to Sohee. "I was counting the stars, a star for every memory, a star for every love." As Sohee recited a line from the poem, the young man gave a wistful smile. "I like to count the stars too," he said. He looked up at the night sky with Sohee. It was the poet himself, Yoon Dong-ju. "Mr. Poet," Sohee asked, "why are your poems so sad? Why do you keep saying you are ashamed?" The poet walked a few steps in silence, then stopped and quietly looked down at a single stone on the roadside. "It's because even on a beautiful, starry night like this, there are many who suffer in the darkness," the poet said in a low voice. "I feel ashamed that all I can do is write poems, unable to do anything else for them." "But that is all the more reason I must write," the poet said, straightening up and looking into Sohee's eyes. "Because I must remember the light even in this darkness, and record the heart that waits for a new morning. For me, that is my only weapon and my only hope." As the poet finished speaking, his form began to fade, shimmering like starlight. "Find your own star and write your own poem. Promise me you won't forget." His voice scattered gently into the night air. Sohee opened her eyes. Outside the window, the world was filled with bright morning sunlight. The old book of poems was still resting on her chest. The poems in the book no longer felt merely sad to her. They were a record of starlight that had overcome the darkness. Sohee ran to her desk and spread out a blank sheet of paper. She pressed her pencil down firmly and began to write. A star for every promise, a star for every hope. She had begun to count her own stars,